Thank you guys for stepping up for that, and then also for the other one, that is gonna be the little machine that we share with 3 other clubs, and that Dale uses when he goes out to the
Schools?
schools, so thank you guys for that. And now, turn over to Brad. Yeah.
Really does. I think we ought to, well, we recognize, but, you know, you were one of the highlights in that film, and that was pretty cool.
Isn't there usually a fine with something like that, especially on a national level?
You guys better dollar it for that.
Some people go to great lengths to get some advertising. Well, congratulations, Doug.
It was pretty impressive, 100 years of a trade organization.
Yes, that's right.
He's on the board. Director Emeritus.
Well, thanks for your good
Director
work.
what? He's on the board.
Okay, the day of the month is 23rd of February of 2026. This has been an infamous day, so let's talk about what is February 23rd known as.
The day after Washington's birthday.
That's good. What else is it known as, Dave? What else is it known as? Anybody have any idea what else it's known as?
Iwo Jima flag,
Iwo Jima flag
or the planting of the flag at Iwo Jima.
on February 23 of what year? But what is this day known as? That's an event that happens. Anybody know? And those of you looking at your phone, shame on you.
Not on the internet,
Oh.
because I read it this morning, I can't
Did you?
remember what it was.
Well, it's known 2 things today. It's known as, anybody have any idea?
Bueller?
Lion Lutz, any idea?
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Well, at least he's true to form right now.
Yeah, all right.
Well, there's 2 things that February 23rd are known for. One is Banana Bread Day.
Yes! Banana bread.
There you go.
And dog biscuit day.
And Dog Biscuit Day. There you go. There you go. All you need is just a little help.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many days have we, what day of the year is? What number day is the year is?
54.
54. Good one. Jeez. You don't think you're going to get out of fines. Okay, so then, who made this famous quote? When life is too easy for us, we must be aware, or we may not be ready to meet the blows which sooner or later come to everyone, rich or poor. February 23, let me give you a hint on the year, 1940. So who? Winston Churchill. Good guess, but not correct.
Delano Roosevelt.
Say what?
FDR.
Good guess, but not correct. I'll even give you a hint. It's close.
It's his wife.
His wife. There you go. What's her name? Eleanor Roosevelt.
Eleanor.
Yeah, that's right.
Mrs.
You know, I ask these questions, Marty. They typically don't have a clue what the answers are. They're doing pretty good today. That's right. That's right.
He's just being kind to us.
Okay, let's see. What else do we come up with? The 54th day of the year. We got that right. Okay, so what happened in February 23 of 2022? COVID?
Well, yeah. It was more than a day.
That was 2020. Spanish flu? Could be, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Is it good stuff or bad stuff?
Not good stuff. Not good stuff.
Russia invaded Ukraine.
Thank you.
That's close. In a televised statement, the president of Russia Vladimir Putin announced that they would conduct a special military operation against Ukraine. 4 years later, here we are, still special military operation. And how about 2020? What happened on 2020?
Things canceled the NCAA tournament.
That's true, they did. Why did they cancel it?
COVID.
COVID. China announced that coronavirus had created the country's worst health emergency since 1949. Duh. And what happened this day in 1836? 1836. Paul, you know this one?
No clue.
No clue. Yeah.
Lincoln was born?
What's that?
No, I wasn't right.
Year who was born?
I said Lincoln, but that's
No,
not right.
no. Okay.
The Lewis and Clark expedition started.
Nope.
American War started.
That's close. Battle of Alamo began in San Antonio, Texas. So you must read, during your school day, do you look at things like that?
Every once in a while.
Oh, okay, good. Anyway, okay, pick up, guys.
You gotta make the announcements, at least somewhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Jason does the best.
All right, do we have a joke? Paul's here, but he kind of forgot.
I got the program, so I can't.
Yeah, you can't do that. You got it, Al?
I'll try.
All right.
Couple came into a dentist office one morning and the dentist said, "Can I help you?" And the guy said, "Do you have time to pull a tooth?" The dentist said, "Well, actually I do. I just had a cancellation." I gotta think about this a minute. I'm ready for this. Anyhow, the guy said, "Well, we're in a heck of a hurry." He said, we don't want Novocaine or gas or anything like that. We just want the tooth pulled." "Okay," said the dentist. Show me which tooth you want pulled." "Honey, come over here and show the dentist which tooth you want pulled."
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day, a new week. Thank you for bringing us together as a group that we can share some stories and laughs and some great fellowship. And we just thank you for the weekend that we could relax and go to church and worship you. So guide us and lead us. Thank you for just sharing ideas and Marty's comments, and so we lift him up too, and we thank you for his efforts and his involvement. We just lift up these things. We thank you for the food that we ate, and we just pray that you'll bless it to our bodies and just guide us and lead us. Pray these things in your name. Amen.
School reports? Okay, Northwestern.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
No problem. Okay, mine's gonna be fast.
Oh,
All right. We are in between seasons. I haven't been here for a couple weeks, but we had our year-end basketball tournaments for the 8th graders, and not great things to report there. The girls didn't do so well, and the boys didn't do so well either. So, but they had fun, and so now
Concentrating more on academics.
we are so concentrating on academics. You bet. So, that's good. We are now kind of that lull time until soccer and track starts, which will be in a couple weeks. We do have a choir festival coming up on Thursday. That'll be at Unity with all the Christian schools getting together for that. A concert Thursday night at 7, and that's always a lot of fun. And then just kind of continuing on with the spring. I guess it'll be only a few more weeks, and we'll be finished with the third quarter, which seems very fast. But we're glad that the weather hasn't messed us up too much so far this year.
In the middle of March, they have a history day at college.
Correct.
And Unity usually has a number of entries in that.
And we do, well, we can usually have some that go to that as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yep.
Unity, but. So if you happen to, they have displays set up, think about the middle of March, 12,
Yep.
13, 14, something like that.
Oh,
It's worth walking out.
I think the
in
ninth.
in the library in that upper room. Yeah.
I think it's more than 9th.
Pardon?
It's like March 9th. It's over our spring break.
Yes.
So I think it's like more like
I
that.
know they're working on the boards and
Yeah.
things right now, so they'll be starting to display them around our school soon.
And then the kids make presentations.
Yeah, they do.
From a historical point of view, and you get judges on it, and. But the people that usually win are active makes a big deal out of this. Okay. Earl?
Yeah, for Unity's basketball, the Unity girls opened their tournament with a win over Okoboji, but then their season ended with a loss at Spirit Lake. Unity girls did not have any seniors on the team, so I think it was a learning experience for them all year. The Unity boys received a bye in the opening round of the tournament, and then they pretty well shellacked Okoboji. I think it was 70-31 in that game that they had. And now they will be hosting West Lyon Tuesday evening, and that is the district final game. The sub-state final will be on Saturday should they win on Tuesday. I believe that sub-state game is scheduled for Storm Lake.
Alrighty. Okay. Northwestern had lots of stuff going on. The wrestling tournament was held at Northwestern. I think we finished 6th, but I know Parmalee won the conference and will be going on to nationals. Any other things you want to add, John?
I can't remember if I told you last week, Jackson Hildebrand, the heavyweight, had, when he got done with football, started wrestling, came down with mono, then they thought he had a gallbladder inflamed, and Dr. Joyce was like, and you want me to let him wrestle? Well, the good news is the gallbladder turned out fine, and he almost, if he would have got 4th, if he would have got 3rd, he would have qualified. So he came back, and for not wrestling much, he really did well. So
What year is he?
he's a junior, maybe a sophomore.
So he's got a shot to go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then the track teams, both of those were over at Dort, and we finished 4th in both the men and the women. Anything you want to add about the track thing?
Nope, just that. That's good. Nationals are in 2 weeks.
National in 2 weeks, then the outdoor thing will be starting pretty quickly too. Okay, so wrestling and track. Baseball team split as they were down in Missouri. They take off spring break start. See, that's one thing about Northwestern and Dort. They don't really know when spring starts. And so they have spring break starting this weekend, going through the next week, and then they come back in the middle of the winter and have spring later on. But the baseball teams are going to be going down to Florida. They split, as I said, this past weekend. The softball team played 3 out of 4 again over there in the Dome. This past weekend, they played 4 more on Friday and Saturday. Then they head south for the spring break as well. So you can kind of follow what's happening with the softball and baseball teams, but both of them are winning as we go into that. Now, basketball, we played Dakota West in here Wednesday night. Our women got beat, but they did qualify for the conference tournament. They'll be going to Hastings for a 7 o'clock game on Wednesday night. Our men defeated Dakota Wesleyan. They come right back here again this coming Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and we'll play them again in the conference tournament. Then if we would beat them, and yeah, I could say if, you know, yeah, we should win that game. Whether we do or not is always questionable, but we should beat them. If we do, then we'll play here Saturday in the second round. And that would be, Dave, we talked about that, do you remember?
Briarcliff or Mount Marty?
Briarcliff or Mount Marty, if you look ahead. Now, as an old coach, you never do that. You only do it once. Okay, I think that covers it.
MOC Floyd Valley girls got beat. Oh, let's see. We'll start with the win first. They beat Storm Lake this past week, and this Dahan girl for Storm Lake played really well. But we overcame her, and we played well. And then we came back and got beat by Sioux Center. So the girls finished up their year. We had some real nice, we're going to lose some seniors that are going to make a factor for next year, but Addie Elkman, I know Kaylee Tooker, and we had a Heller girl and one other lady, I don't remember.
Kate Klein-Hessling.
Kate Klein-Hessling. So we'll miss those girls. The boys start tonight. They play Spencer here at Orange City, and we'll do the if thing. If they win, then they'll get to host another game, and that's either between Sioux Center or Lamar's. And if we keep winning, then we'll have to play next Tuesday, and Carroll's on the other side, which is a rated team, so we can hopefully look forward to about 3 wins in a row and get somewhere. And I also know that the small group and large group speech is doing very well, and their chance to go to state. So it's always good to hear about that kind of stuff too. And robotics too. A lot of good things going on at the Dutch.
If we made it that far, would we likely have to go to Carroll, or
We would have to go to Carroll. They are seated higher than we are, so hopefully we can take a trip and knock somebody off.
After tonight, when would they play?
We play Thursday. Yeah.
And
Then it would be a Monday.
Dave is at the Hongal, a senior, and is
Yeah.
Northwestern?
She's gonna be a freshman at Northwestern
Oh, she's
next
at
year.
Northwestern.
Yeah, she's a recruit. Her dad and mom both graduated from Northwestern back in the day. Jeff DeHaan is the dad, and she was a Lindsay Crop. So they got married out of during college. They have a daughter coming. So.
And her grandmother is a Bogart.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Bogart.
Yeah.
Ready for me?
All right, great.
Everybody knows Marty. Marty's an MLC grad and a Northwestern grad, and he spent 4 years prior to taking the Orange City health system over. So he spent 4 years in Sheldon, and then he's been at the health system for 32 years. And I believe he's announced that he's going to retire here in August. He married his high school sweetheart, Tammy Roundhorst. He's got 3 sons and 6 grandchildren. So we're going to turn it over to Marty.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to come talk to you today. When Paul booked me here, I knew that there was going to be an announcement a week ago. And I thought, what the heck, it's fine. And so I want to talk about that, maybe just briefly. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them. Yeah, it's been 32 plus years. March 18, 1994 is when I started in Orange City. And I had 3 things to remember from that first day. One is I had a bag phone. I walked into my office and there was a bag phone on the desk, and I thought, wow, I've made it. I have a bag phone, which was the cell phone of this day, of course. And then I had a name badge, and under my name it said Chief Executive Officer. And I thought, what? Yeah, that's crazy. And then the third thing is just I had no idea that this would represent 3 decades of influence in my family, and how much and deeply it would impact myself and my family. It's been a wonderful journey. It's been one with of teamwork, and one that has been marked by great people along the way, yoked together under a common culture and common vision. And so it's been really good. The kind of the official timeline is August 1. They do hope to have a new CEO in the seat by July 1st. So I'll have my office cleaned out by July, so just in case that happens. July would be a transition month then. And the transition is going to depend on who gets the job, of course, and whether it's I'm out one day and that person's in the next, or if there's a little bit more baton passing sort of thing that happens if it is an internal candidate that's successful in that. In any regard, August 1 would be the last date. People have asked, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. There are a few things out there, but the main thing is I'd like to see what's on the other side of the decision to retire. And so I don't intend to climb in a hole and hibernate or do anything like that, but I don't have any specific plans for what's out there. So I'm just going to pause with that. Are there any questions or anything that you guys would have in question of that announcement?
Who proceeds?
Steve Geezer. Steve was here for maybe 8 years or so. And I think before that was a guy named Dwight Gray. And before that was Helen Van Gelder. Helen Van Gelder. So I'm like the 5th CEO in the history, I think, of the health system, something like that. So.
Well, a lot of stuff has happened during your time here. Your time here, the hospital itself. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, probably the single greatest opportunity that we've had was to build a new hospital on a green site. In other words, completely, and I still remember taking somebody out to the new site, which was an alfalfa field at the time, and there was an outline of the emergency room on the alfalfa field, and I said, this is where our new emergency room is going to be. Isn't it cool? It's like, it's in the middle of a field, you know. But very few people have the opportunity to do that kind of thing, and that was a great privilege to be able to do that at that time. And yeah, we acquired the Heritage House during that early stage, and then ultimately created Prairie Ridge as a result of that. Lansmere Ridge came on board in the late 90s as well. So there's been, the growth of the health system has been really good. This year we'll probably hit 110 million in gross revenues, and that sounds like a lot, but it's a struggle to get things to the bottom line today in healthcare. And if we can make 1 penny out of every dollar, we would maybe not be happy, but we'd be happier because the margin is so tight today. But anyway, there's a significant amount of revenue, there's been a significant amount of growth, and it's all because we have good teams and a good culture to wrap that around.
You put a study group together with a consultant to dream all that. A part of that study, they determined how many dollars of medical care, health care were being spent in the community of Orange City, how much was spent locally, and how much of it ended up in Sioux City.
Yeah.
Do you remember the percentage and what you thought you could capture if you built a new hospital? It was striking, and I think you hit the numbers afterwards. But
Yeah, I know we had, at one point we had talked about doing a joint Sioux County health system and putting something like at the $1 million corner. And I got a call one night from a physician who will go unnamed from another town, and said, well, everybody knows you can't put a hospital out at the $1 Million Corner. It was 10:30 on a Sunday night. I had just woken up from my traditional nap in the chair, and I was like, should I engage or not? And I thought, yeah, what the heck, I'm awake now anyway. And so I said, tell me, why? And he said, well, you can't get water to it. And I said, okay, well, I used to audit rural water systems, and I'm pretty sure that if you're willing to pay for the pipe in the ground, they're willing to sell you the water. But that's a tier 3 and tier 4 decision. It's not tier 1. Tier 1 is whether you have a common mission you can get together to do. So that never happened. And then we had to develop, we had 6 critical success factors that we developed with, in the spam capital of the world. Was it Austin? Is that Austin? We met with Clifton Larson Allen. We developed 6 critical criteria that if we hit all those criteria, we could do this ourselves. We hit all the criteria, including profitability, and we were able to do it. Now, I don't recall the out-migration number, but over the years, we've been able to bring a lot of that back. I'm going completely off script now. But to the point now today where we're doing total knees, total hips, total shoulders, other replacement parts. So we're bringing those specialty in, and I'll talk about how that fits in the strategy in just a little bit. So I can't answer that directly, Drew.
And bringing in Grimgar and your affiliation with Hospers, I think that's been a good thing too.
Yeah, it was interesting that when I was in Sheldon, we were competing to get the Hospers Clinic. And then when I came to Orange City, we got it. And so that's been good. Hospers has been an important part. But then we built a clinic in Paulina as well, which now with the closure of Grimgar Hospital it's up 20-30% in Paulina right now for the number of people. So that's been a good thing too. Couple of things. About 2 years ago, maybe, we went to Iowa Hospital Association annual meeting, and we came back with 2 initiatives, and they wanted people to focus on 2 things. The first was foundation development, meaning that you weren't going to make enough money in the future unless you had some free money and foundation support money, philanthropic. And so you needed to beef up your foundation. As a result of that, we ultimately hired a full-time foundation director, Sarah Jungers, and she's creating, no pun intended, a great foundation for our foundation. She's done a lot of work. She's really raised the bar a lot, and so we're focused on that, but we're in the early phases of that, but definitely committed to it. In terms of that. The second thing that they suggested that hospitals do to survive in the future was the creation of additional outpatient surgical offerings. And one of the things that you'll see as a result of that now is that we're under a remodeling project at the hospital of about $2 million. That's going to result in the addition of 1 operating room and the addition of a procedural room in the operating space. What that procedural room will do is take the pressure off one of the operating rooms to get stuff out of there that shouldn't be in there. Well, what do you mean? Pediatric dental cases do not need to be in the operating room. They could be in the procedural room. So get them out of the OR. Pain management procedures are currently being done in the OR. They don't need to be in the OR. They need to be in a procedure room. So we're going to get those out of there and free up a bunch of time for use of the OR. So what are we going to do in there? One of the things that we're going to start in April is the addition of a hand surgeon coming to our community. We have kind of stalled that for a little bit, saying let's wait until we get the project done. But now, starting in April, our project will be done in the May-June timeframe, so we'll be able to accommodate that. We added hip replacement surgery, and we're now doing shoulder, and we've always done knees in the past. Our first entry point into the robotic surgical systems occurred a couple of years ago. That was with the addition of Mako. And you know, the Pizza Ranch is more than just good pizza. It's a place where you can develop strategy. And when I say that, I was at the Pizza Ranch buffet line one night, and two ladies were talking in the salad bar, and they were talking, I wasn't like leaning in, they were just talking, and they said, I see you got your knee, I heard you had your knee replaced, and the lady responded, yes. They said, well, where'd you go? Well, I went to the dunes. Well, why did you go to the dunes? Because they got that robot, you know. And it's like, it hit me right then that people were starting to make decisions based on the availability of technology rather than the ability of the surgeon. Now, you needed both, of course, but that sort of birthed, there's other things too, but the point that people are looking for technology. And so we have the Mako robotic system, which is used for about 15 minutes of a surgery, and that's at the very beginning. It precisely cuts the bone so that the prosthetic fits right on top of it perfectly. You know, I'm making this up, and John will hold me accountable, but you know, maybe the rep's in the room with 7 or 8 different size prosthetics and find the right one that fit. Well, now they're in there with 2 or 3 because they know it's going to be perfectly cut with the robot. All of these robots, you know, they don't do a single thing without somebody directing them. Not a single thing. So that's that. And that was about $750,000. A lot of money, but nothing compared to the next one that we bought. We just acquired last fall, and it's maybe 95% operational at this point, the Da Vinci DV5 surgical system by Intuitive. The robot itself is about $2.5 million. It takes about another $600,000 to $700,000 of things to go with it. An interlocking table, because it's kind of important if somebody bumps the robot when it's got the things in everybody, that you don't want them moving. Or if somebody bumps the table, you don't want that, because so the table is integrated in with the robot. So the table itself was like $140,000. So that's all above the $2.5 million. But the thing is, we really felt we had no choice in the matter. Because some of you may not know, Dr. Locker is planning on retiring in the near future. We are actively recruiting for a general surgeon. The likelihood of being able to recruit a new surgeon out of residency is significantly diminished, if not zero, if you don't have the robotic technology that they're being trained on in residency. And so that was affirmed to me. We had a candidate. He said, you don't need to have a robot. And he kind of paused, and I'm kind of going, what? He goes, but you need to have one on the truck coming. and I said, okay. Now that candidate ended up choosing a place closer to his family. We had somebody in last week as well. And he said, well, I don't want it on a truck. He goes, I need it operational. This person that was in is going to be fellowship trained in minimally invasive surgery. He's had 6.5 years of experience with robotic surgical systems, even though he's still a fellow. He hasn't had a full-time job yet, but he's got that kind of experience. So it just cemented the fact, I believe, and maybe I can come back someday and say if this is right. I think in 10 years, rural hospitals are not going to be able to have general surgery unless they have a robotic system. It's going to take 10 years for the current staff to kind of age and retire and do that. But the only surgery perhaps offered would be C-sections. And I just have a feeling that that's the direction it's going. So are we a little early? Maybe so. But would we be able to recruit today? Not a chance. Or the people you could recruit are not the people that you want. Questions on the DV5? It's a soft tissue, so it's hernias, gallbladders, gynecological stuff, urologic stuff. We used it the other night for an appendectomy. So those kinds of soft tissue thing. It really, you say it's better for the patient. One of the things is it's soft surgery. It's softer surgery, meaning that the robot doesn't push things around like you might push around in normal surgery. So the less you disturb the other organs in the body, the less pain you have, the quicker your recovery is, all those kinds of things. Dr. Locker was talking to me Saturday morning, and he did a case Friday night with the DV5. He said these trocar incisions are 12 millimeters wide. He said if we have this different tip, he said the incision that we'll make is 8 millimeters wide, which we can cut the incision length down by 1/3, which is going to reduce the amount of pain, the faster recovery, all that. So we're seeing it already, and it's going to be a good thing for our patients in the future. I just have to say, this isn't all about technology. It's not all about having a nice building or nice ORs and all that kind of stuff. It's the high tech, you got to have it. Otherwise, it's the Pizza Ranch scenario where you're not going to have the opportunity to do. So you got to have high tech, but you got to have high touch. You got to not only have people that know how to run the machines, which is paramount to me. I don't want to buy a machine if we don't have anybody to run it. But it's the manner in which they operate the machines. It's the manner in which they take care of other people. It's part of the culture that we're talking about. It's how the culture of do right philosophy, and it's the reputation I think that Orange City has, not only to have high tech, to have the right equipment available, but to utilize it in the right manner. And it's all under the context of neighbors caring for neighbors and doing that. So we want to emphasize, and we try to, you got to have high tech, but you got to have people that know how to run it and run it from the perspective of a decent human being. We call them DHBs. We try to hire DHBs that work within the do-right culture, and when you do that, you create this interface between high tech and high touch. Staffing. For the most part, our staffing is doing well. Again, the higher the licensure, the easier it is to find people. That seems a little bit backwards. So your RNs, we're doing pretty good. Physicians, we're actually doing pretty good. We have a new physician joining us this summer. Her name is Megan Grassel. In the world of hospital administration, she is gold-plated. She does OB, she's going to have clinic practice, and she's going to work in the ER. The perfect. And she's a decent human being. So, again, we try to hire physicians who are DHBs, hire DHBs who happen to have a physician license, is how, and she is very, very high on that list. So where we do have issues with staffing is often on the entry-level positions more. Dining services is a tough area. CNAs is a tough issue. Certified nurse aides, particularly in the nursing home. But we are, I think Rob, a month ago, he gave a quarterly update, Rob Gatto, and the dollar amount isn't that important, but he was able to report that we had dropped $1,000 a day in our reliance on temp. services. It's either we went from 5,000 a month a day to 4,000, or we went from 4 to 3. Either way, it's the $1,000 savings. There's no question that we have to pay a lot more for those people, and you say, well, why don't you just pay your current people more? Why don't you just offer more? Because they're not there. They're not out there. And so we're trying to lower that, because generally speaking with temp agencies, you pay more for less. It's difficult for them to buy into your culture as much as your own employees are. They don't have the dog in the fight, stake in the game kind of thing. But we try to interface that working with one staffing agency that knows us, and we've worked with them long enough that they have people that want to work in Orange City. And so we have consistency in the number of people coming. We just don't have them as employees, we have them as temps. I did mention the surgeon that we were recruiting. His name is Seth Peterson, and we're very high on him. We think that within 2 weeks we'll know. The only thing left is for his attorney to review our contract. I'm very comfortable with our contract, of course. But our contract structure within the surgeons is identical. They have exactly the same contract. The basic structure to our contracts with docs is the same across the board, whether you're family practice or a physician. So the basic structure with HIPAA and all kinds of stuff like that, the legalese, is consistent across the board. So, and it's reviewed every 2 to 3 years so that we know we're in compliance with everything. So I feel very confident that his attorney's not going to find anything in the contract. All the terms in the contract are agreed to already, and so it's just a matter of that final legal review. I sent him back to Hackensack, New Jersey, where he's doing his training, with 2 signed contracts. And I said, send back one to me in the postage paid envelope that's in your packet, and include some letters of reference, and we're good to go. So hopefully in the next 10 to 14 days we'll know that. In terms of what might be happening in the future, we continue to talk to different specialty groups. This week already, I guess it was Friday now, talked to an ophthalmologist who has an interest in coming and in reestablishing ophthalmology services here. That's more complicated than what it would appear, but that's a possibility. We're going to be looking at that. Oral surgery is another area that we want to bring back to our clinic. We're working with a group out of Sioux Falls, and they were going to recruit another person, and when they did that, they were going to come down. I really liked those guys, besides the fact that one of them played strong safety for USF. It's like okay. But it was after me, so I guess that was okay. So we're continually looking for different specialty services to bring in. One of the things that I was going to add to is Dr. Korber 4 or 5 months ago called a pause to his practice. That's his terminology. And we needed to pick up the ball and run with it right away. There were a lot of patients out there. We've rebounded from that pretty well. And Dr. Sarah Powell is now here. She's seeing a lot of patients. I tell you how many she can see in a day, but then you think she's not doing a good job. So I won't tell you, but our surgical volume has dropped a little bit because Dr. Korber used to do all of his surgeries here, but we're coming back pretty strong with that. And so I think we've done about as good as we could reasonably expect to do, but I think there's a lot of growth in that area yet. And one of the things that Dr. Powell just started doing that you might have seen commercials on TV is the Inspire sleep apnea program. So people who fail from the breathing mask thing can actually have an implant, and you go through a pretty extensive process where she can actually put an electronic implant, and then it sounds terrible, but it kind of shocks you to breathe. You don't wake up or anything, but it triggers the breathing during the night. So she's doing those. We did 2 of those on December 31, actually, and I don't know if we've done any since. But we're always looking for new things. We'll have the capacity to do more. And I'm going to stop right now and just see if there's any questions before the 1 o'clock hour hits. Yeah, Lyle.
Marty, what's our relationship with Sanford and
Yeah.
Sioux Falls, and how does that
Good question.
interface with
Yeah.
the CEO search?
I have never been employed by Orange City Area Health System in 32 years. When I came to Orange City, it was through St. Luke's. St. Luke's hired me with permission and direction from our Board of Trustees. They hired me, but my check came through. So we contracted with St. Luke's. St. Luke's had me on payroll. The same thing is true with Sanford. We contract with Sanford through a management agreement. I come along with that. The board sets my salary. The board sets the contract for that involvement. The board will make the final decision on who is hired, but Sanford will do the mechanics of advertising for the next CEO and just working through the HR part of that. They do that quite often. We do it like once every 32 years, right? So we are also, the board wants a new 10-year management agreement before I leave, and we're in the process of negotiating that with them right now. It's technically due 2027. We're going to try to do it this summer, so 2026, and it'll be another 10-year management agreement. But our relationship with Sanford is solid. They let us do our own thing. Now the thing is, I do more of my own thing than maybe the new person will, because I've been doing it for 32 years. Now, in transparency, I may not be aware of all the things that Sanford has to offer because I kind of don't look to them very much. Maybe I should, but the new person will. And but it's good. Nothing's going to change in terms of that, and that's very important for all of our staff, and including our physicians, to know that there's not. There might be a new person in my seat, but there's not a new sheriff in town. It's still our local board that's in full control of everything. Good question. Yeah, Dave.
That kind of relates to my question. You know, Sioux Center is Avera.
Yeah.
Here's Sanford.
Yeah.
How do hospitals decide that?
Culture fit. You know, we decided it back, so I only really can know how we did it. One of the reasons we left St. Luke's and went to Sanford is that St. Luke's did not have a portable electronic medical record system. Sanford had one. It turned out to be one of the best ones in the market, but it was early. So we joined them primarily from an IT platform perspective. I was comfortable with them from being in Sheldon. Sheldon at that time had a long-term lease. Today they're owned by Sanford. So there was a comfort level with the players, and I'm sure I'd probably influence that a little bit. But really the driving force was the Epic EMR, what you see as my chart today and things like that. Now, the needs in Sioux Center may have been different at the time. Avera's a good organization, and quite frankly, has Lamar's, Sioux Center, Rock Valley, Rock Rapids, Sibley, is all Avera. So they have a better network in Northwest Iowa. Now, what does that mean? Not much, but it doesn't hurt.
I know my wife, my grandson and his wife, both are with Sanford. So the struggle that we're having with Dot, we go to Sanford Hospital,
Oh, yeah.
but Avera is in Sioux Center.
Yeah.
And they're communicating. You were talking about that My Chart. that communication system is not very
Yeah.
good between the two.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be changed, I think, within a few months.
Well, but that's complicated. Yeah, Avera is converting to Epic. Sanford has Epic, but that doesn't mean that the two systems are going to talk. It means that it's going to be easier for them to talk. But you know, you got the green-blue thing fighting up there, and we try to keep their political stuff in Sioux Falls as much as we can. But just because they're both on the Epic platform doesn't mean that it's going to be transparent, but it's going to be better. But that's why a lot of the specialists that come from Sioux Falls are Sanford related, because it makes it so nice for our docs to follow the patient when they're in Sanford, because it's all part of the same chart, but also to make referrals and to see tests and all that kind of stuff. So it's a big decision. Haywarden just converted to Avera, primarily because it was the only game in town.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Marty, what do you see as the long-term future for small rural hospitals?
The surgical part of it, I think, if I'm gonna be careful, I'm being recorded. I think if you don't have the ability to invest in technology and you can't recruit the resources to run it, you're increasingly going to be behind the 8 ball. You know, we saw Primgar close, it just didn't have the volume. I think it's relatively easy to have, trying to get the right word, non-acute care in a community, so a family practice clinic, and take care of 90% of the things. I think it's going to be difficult in the future from a staffing standpoint and that resource standpoint for rural hospitals in the future to make it. Now, I left out an important thing. This isn't a political statement, but within the big, beautiful bill, there's $50 billion that were allocated to rural America. 200 million of that went to Iowa in the first go-round. 112 of the 200 million was allocated towards technology. We applied for it, and we received $2.5 million grant. Why did I leave that out? I should have led with that. So that is one avenue where the idea behind the technology grant was to eliminate the bypass, the rural bypass. So they want surgeries to be in an Orange City, not in Sioux City. And to be able to do that, you have to have things like the robotic system. Now, Haywarden was awarded a surgical robot as well. Do 1 or 2 cases a year. I'm not sure that that's $2.5 million well spent, but that's not my decision. But again, if you don't have that in the future of your rural hospital is bleak, in my opinion.
Marty, what's the next level of robot then? Is it, and would our hospital have need for a second robot that is different surgically, and then is AI going to be installed into these robots at some point where there's not necessarily the human touch, it's more AI?
There's some AI in the DB5 now, but the DB5 doesn't do anything without. I was messing with it before it actually became real, and even you have your head in the scanner, and you're doing stuff, moving it around. You pull your head back like that, the whole thing shuts down. In other words, you can't do it unless you're engaged. So there are safety points like that all over the place. This DB5 is the latest technology that's out there. It's really super state of the art. Where the surgeon came from this past weekend, they have 16 robots in their hospital. They're the mecca of robotic surgery in the nation. I think only 2 of their 16 are DV5s. So we have the latest of the latest. So
most of that in the future will be updated with software. I think we're right there right now with a lot of technology that we have, so I don't anticipate a lot, but that could change tomorrow. Yeah.
This would be under the, what you call a DHB category.
Yeah.
But front of brain, because so many people recently, surgery or something, I guess my mind went down south, and they can't wait to get back to York City, Iowa, even when they're in the hospital yet. So I hope everyone appreciates that DHB.
I think that's the culture part of it. Yeah,
exactly.
Neighbors caring for neighbors. You can have tech in two different places and they're administered in a different way. Yeah.
That's credit to you.
Yeah.
One of the people.
Well, thank you.
Careful.
Well, if the shoe fits, you know, we interviewed a surgeon the other day, the one who decided to go somewhere else, and he had a flannel shirt on, and could talk hunting and fishing with Locker and night camp all day long. So part of that was a DHB in terms of he wasn't wrapped up in the fact that he's a surgeon. He didn't self-identify as my life is as a surgeon. He's a dad, a husband. He was in a flannel shirt talking to us, being interviewed, and he talked a lot about hunting and fishing. And so it's like, okay, so that's part of the DHB category. I mean, you can tell the surgeon that was in this last week, he was supremely confident in the things that he knew he could do. But he also knew that he didn't have a lot of expertise in other areas. And he actually would like to see Steve Locker stay on for a period of a few months so that he could be mentored by Steve. So you come in with 6.5 years of robotic training, fellowship trained in minimally invasive surgery, and you're asking the local guy in Orange City area health system to mentor you. That shows the right mindset of somebody, and that's part of being a DHB. It's been fun.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.